What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's going on? What's happening with everyone out there? It's your boy Arlo, and I'm back again with another video. On today's video, we all know that like what we always do on Saturdays and on Sundays, we always having a weekly outlook for the possible market directions for every week. So on today's video, we'll be looking for potential market direction for the week of August, or on the 29th of August all up to the 2nd of September. It's a month end and the new month. So I guess you all had a profitable month. We enjoyed it. We stayed productive. We believe in ourselves, and we did what we had to do day by day to be where it deserves to be, day by day, year by year, month by month. So without better ado, this has to be simple, not too hard, not too easy, and not too complicated. So on this one video, I'll be standing off at the NAS because you all know what I always look at. NASDAQ. I'll be looking for potential market direction. I don't want to make it too hard when breaking down the trades on NAS. And at the same time, I don't want to make it easy. If I just want to make it be neutral so anyone can understand and anyone can learn off of this. And before I start, financial this ain't financial advice. Everything I say or do, I do it based off everything that I've learned, everything that I'm understanding, and everything that I do. So because now Harlem does this, that don't mean you need to do that. Your phone, you need to find your own way. But what I'm doing, I'm just trying to make it simple because that's how I found simplicity out of everything that I'm doing. Without better ado, let's just continue. Trust the process and believe in ourselves and do what we're supposed to do day by day, week by week, month by month. And yeah, so looking at the NAS, you can tell the like structure of the market. We simply said we were simply looking for something simple, not too hard, not too easy. We had this resistance level, we had price sitting off of this resistance level. We have price sitting off of that resistance level. But we simply say, happiness song about sorry about that. Sorry about that. My bad about that. So we simply said we're looking at price reacting from the resistance which we had, the strong double top which we had. And fortunately, price did react off of it for me. So looking at current price, we did say that on Monday, simply waiting for price to actually pull back or have an exhaustion phase for continuation to the downside. So with that said, I'm not finna head down to the 4H. So looking at the 4H, we can tell that like from a strong impulsive move to the downside, we have price pulling back or exhausting or correcting, whatever that you might say it is, and price continued moving to the downside on Friday to end the week. So now with that said, we can tell that like this is a push phase and an exhaustion phase. We're having a potential push phase for me. So with that said, we can tell that like price had this low. You can say it's I say this is an intraday support level, intraday support zone. Some people can say it's some supply, demand. Some people can say it's market lows, whatever that you call it. But I call it support because I see price reacted for some time off of that level. So with a strong impulsive breakout to the downside, with a strong impulsive move to the downside, we all know that like for every push phase, we need for price to exhaust or to pull back before it can actually continue with a push phase. So now to my side on Monday, what I'll be simply waiting for, I'll be simply waiting for price to pull back to retest the level which it broke, the lows which we broke to have a potential market retest, which will be a pullback or an exhaustion phase for price to continue moving to the downside, or for price to react off of this strong impulsive candle close, for price to exhaust off of that level to continue moving to the downside. So on the 1H, we can tell the like price did have I think 800 move at 669.9, which is basically like a 5% drop to end the week. So obviously we all know that like if price pushes impulsively to the downside, no to the upside, we simply need to wait for an exhaustion phase, for a pullback, for a retest, whatever that you might get, for price to continue moving to the downside. So in this instant, we all know price pushed. We're simply waiting for a pullback or a retest of that support level to continue, or from a push, we wait for a pullback from the 4H, from the strong 4H candle close, which might be basically a spike or a rejection before price can continue moving to the downside. Or if price pushed, we can simply wait for correction before price pushes to the downside. So on the NAS, I'm simply waiting for price to exhaust, to correct, or to pull back before we can continue moving to the downside. Looking at gold, on gold, we simply said we're simply waiting for a pullback, exhaustion phase, or for price to clearly give us an indication that the bears are still in charge of the charts. So with that said, we did have a 3-day. We had 3 days of price being bullish. And before, so okay, we had price being bullish for 3 days. But before we ended the week, price retraced the whole bullish movement. You follow me? So with that said, what I'm simply waiting for, I would simply wait for a daily candle to close below this level to continue bearish, or to spike off that level or fail to break that level to continue moving to the upside. So on the 4H, we can tell that like price did have a push and an exhaustion. Now we're having a potential push. But now with this said, we have a low. We have a lower low and a lower high, and this low not being lower than this lower low. So with that said, we all know that like if price prints out a lower low, a lower high, and a lower low, which isn't lower than the previous low, we might tell that like we're having a potential market reversal. But with that said, we can simply wait for what? For price to trade above the previous lower high to confirm that we are having a potential reversal and continue moving to the upside. So in this instance, we're having a lower low and a lower high, and the low not lower than the previous low. So with that said, I'm simply waiting for what from my daily. I'm simply waiting for the daily candle to close below or to bounce off this level, giving us a double top, and wait for the bullish momentum and start moving to the upside with gold from our 4H. So on the 1H, we can tell that like our current price is probably is kind of like trading in the bear channel, with price giving us this low, this high, this low, this high, trading at that low to close the week. So now looking at this price, we can tell that like price did once create this intraday support slash double top, double bottom, and price rally to the upside. Now we came back to this level. So this very same level, we had some sort of a depletion. We had some bearish engulfing candles, which once price came back to this previous double bottom, we had some sort of some bearish depletion. So what we're simply waiting for is for price to give us some bullish momentum or an indication that we are clearly going to move to the upside with a potential break of this lows, retest, break of the breakout, retest, and continue moving to the upside with price. You feel me? So on gold, I'm simply waiting for price to indicate that the bears are still in charge by breaking the lows, or to indicate that the bulls are stepping in the charts by failing to break the lows and giving us that bullish momentum and continue moving to the upside. Looking at German 30, what I found on NAS is what I found on German 30. We simply waited for price to pull back or to exhaust before we can continue rallying to the downside. So with that said, we simply wait for what? For a pullback or an exhaustion phase to continue moving to the downside. So on the 4H, if price wouldn't have the if price won't have that momentum to retest that level or a pullback or an exhaustion phase, we can simply trade below. We can simply trade above. We can simply trade below the 4-hour candle close, which we had, and let price continue moving the way it continued moving, the way it was moving, without having anything to do with price. So with that said, what I found on the NAS, it's what I'm founding on German 30. We're building some type of correlation, some type of momentum, or some type of behavior, which we have to confirm our continuation traits before we. So heading down to the 1H, we can tell that like price did try price did try price did try and push to the upside and have some sort of bear depletion from this level, but the bears had the strong momentum which price couldn't maintain, or the bulls couldn't sustain it. What we're simply waiting for is for price to clearly pull back or exhaust and continue, or for price to come back to retest this intraday zones and continue moving to the downside. So that's my take on German 30. Also wait for pullback and exhaustion phase to continue moving to the downside. You feel me? US 30, same shit with the NAS and German 30. We was waiting for price to exhaust before we can continue with the push phase. So with that said, we broke this lows, we broke this the zone, and we broke this intraday support zone. So with that said, we simply wait for a pullback or retest to continue moving to the downside from the daily time frame. Looking at the 4H, because now the 4H had a push phase and a bear flag and a break. What we simply wait for is for price to pull back or to exhaust before we can continue moving to the downside. Looking at the 1H, you might simply finna wait for that daily and 4 hour exhaustion phase, retest, pull back, lower high, whatever that you might be looking to wait for before we can continue moving to the downside. You feel me? And guys, before I continue with some pairs, it's not like I'm being lazy or I'm not breaking down this pairs. I'm not breaking down this pairs the way I should be, but there's nothing for me to add more than what I can see, than what I can personally see as a trader. So with that said, that's what it is. Simply wait for an exhaustion phase before price can continue with the push phase. You feel me? So looking at the first currency pair, which you might want to look at, USD CAD. USD CAD is still trading in a range. Price is going up, price is going down, but it's staying in one zone. So with that said, I must simply wait for price to do what? To close above or to fail to break and start moving to the downside from the daily. From the 4H, price was trading in this type of bear zone, which was like a bull flag, and price impulsively broke out. So with that said, I'm simply waiting for price to trade off the zone, to trade above or trade below, and start having that continuation move to the downside nor to the upside. So from the 1H, looking at this intraday zones, you can tell the like price broke this high, but failed to break this highs, You feel me? So with that said, we simply wait for price to pull back or exhaust or have a retest before it can continue moving to the downside. So on this type of trades, I simply wait for to trade zones. You feel me? I simply wait to trade zones. Boom. Take profit on this resistance zone. Fail to break. We start looking for that bear momentum. Break out. We continue with that bullish momentum. So that's it on USD CAD. I'm waiting for price to trade above resistance or trade below resistance to take those continuation or those reversal trades. Tesla, we can tell that like we're still in this type of bear structure. You feel me? But it's kind of like low key because price was failing to break this resistance. Which we have failing to break resistance, and price clearly moved to the downside. So with that said, we simply wait for price to bounce off this key level and continue to the upside, break the key level, retest below, and continue moving to the downside. You feel me? Looking at Bitcoin. Yesterday I was looking for a trade on Bitcoin, but unfortunately I couldn't find it. But we can tell the like price, it's in price is trading in this resistance, in the support, and in this resistance. So with that said, price was trading on some videos. You can go watch them out if you want to. Price was off this zone. You feel me? This correction, moving to the upside, to the downside, but it was failing to break to the downside, was failing to continue to the upside and rejecting that zone. And price was trading off of the zone and impulsively broke to the downside. So with that said, we simply wait for price to what? To retest or to pull back before we can continue moving to the downside. So from the 4H, we can simply wait for what? For price to pull back, exhaust, or just give us that bear momentum and continue moving to the downside. On the 1H, price is kind of like in this correction zone. So whatever that we might say it is. So I might simply wait for price to do what? To trade off of this lows, trade below those lows to continue bearish, or trade above those highs to move bullish. You feel me? So that's my take on Bitcoin for the week. And like I said on the previous video, I said that like Bitcoin might have this some sort of bullish, whatever structure, some sort of bullish momentum, which it had. I said I don't see price trading off of this 25. I said I don't see price trading off of the 25,000 zone mark. I didn't see price trading off that mark, and price moved to the downside. So it's simply planning your trades and trading your plans and sticking to your plans and just believing in yourself. Bitcoin, I'm looking for continuation trades to the downside. And if it's like this on Bitcoin, it has to be like that on Ethereum and on any other pair. So Ethereum, we had this push phase on those previous videos, which I said I'm looking for that bear momentum, which we had. Price was in a correction. We had a daily, time frame. We had a daily time frame, bear flag, bro. Like, what the fuck was you looking for that bullish movement for? We had this push, correction, bear flag, breakout, wait for retest, and continue to the downside from the daily time frame. You form. So looking at the 4H, I did analyze yesterday, and I was looking for potential sales from this rejection to continue to the downside, but unfortunately, price didn't do it. So what we're simply waiting for is for price to pull back, exhaust, or give us what can I say? We're waiting for price to exhaust, pull back, or to retest some previous zones before we can continue moving to the downside with Ethereum. Looking at the 1H before we can head to another pair, price is kind of like trading in this zone. Boom. Price is kind of like trading off the zone. So we simply wait for bullish or bearish breakout, and that's it. So on Litecoin, because the nigga lied to lit, price is kind of like bearish with this lower low, lower high, lower low, double top, kind of like a double top. What I'm simply waiting for is for price to close below the lows or above the lows and continue moving to the upside, not to the downside. But in correlation, if Bitcoin is bearish, Ethereum will be bearish, and eventually Litecoin will be bearish before me. So from the 4H, I can't tell what the fuck is going on right now. So I'm gonna finna head to the 1H. The 1H is kind of like having this some sort of structure, which it had. Whatever how you might place it, it all depends on you. But I'm just trying to show you all what it has. I'm not trying to make it perfect, but I'm just trying to show you what it has. Have a potential exhaustion or correction, which you might have a potential push to the downside. So with that said, I might finna wait for a close below lows. We simply wait for close below lows to take a trade, to take a continuation trade to the downside. So Bitcoin is bearish, Ethereum is bearish, and Litecoin is bearish. So last but not least, we have an oil. Oil, we did say we're still in this bear structure, but price is in a correction. So we all know that like if price has this type of structure, if price portrays this type of structure and starts correcting and breaks above the correction, not below the correction, we might be having a potential market reversal. But with that said, we simply wait for confirmations before me. So price was holding the zone, giving us a double top. So if we have a daily double top, if we have a double top, a double bottom in our daily time frame, we're having a support on our 4H, 1H, and 15-minute and 30-minute, whatever time frame you might say it is. So with that said, price did show some sort of a bullish momentum. Price was in a correction to end the week. So with that said, I might simply wait for a bullish candle, which will close above this highs for continuation to the upside. Or if price closed below our support with a potential breakout and a retest, we might continue to the upside. But if we have it closed below the support level, we might continue moving to the downside. So heading to the 4H, we're having a potential bullish flag. We're having a potential bullish flag, but with this bullish flag, we might simply wait for what? For this close, for a strong bull. We might wait for price to close above the zones to simply like break the highs with the retest. We have a breakout, retest for a continuation to the upside from our 4H. So on the daily time frame, we had a potential double top, we had a potential double bottom, price breaking the highs, price breaking the correction, coming back for a retest, closing below. So on the 4H, we're having a potential bullish flag, which we might simply wait for what? For price to trade above the highs to continue bullish. So heading down to the 1H before we end the session. On the 1H, we can tell the like price was holding off the zone for some time before it pushed, but unfortunately broke out and held the zone for some time and unfortunately pushed. So we simply need to wait and see that if it happened once here, let's see what will happen here. If it will have some sort of, again, this push phase, which this exhaustion for price to actually push again, breaking those highs, coming back for a retest, and continuing to the downside. So on oil, I'm simply waiting for price to continue bullish once we break above the highs. If we fail to break above the highs, we start looking for the momentum to the downside. So on NAS, we're simply waiting for price to pull back to exhaust or retest some previous levels, which it broke and continue bearish. On gold, we're simply waiting for signs that the bears are stepping in the charts and continue and start moving bullish, or we simply wait for a break off the lows to continue moving bearish. On German 30, we're simply waiting for price to exhaust before it can continue bearish. US 30, we're simply waiting for price to exhaust, to retest, or to pull back before it can continue bearish. USD CAD was simply waiting for price to trade above the highs or trade above or trade below the highs to continue. Okay, we trade above the highs, we continue bullish, trade above, trade below the highs. We simply start looking for that bullish momentum, for that bearish momentum, and move bearish. Tesla, we simply wait for price to bounce off the key level and continue bullish and start moving bullish, or to close above or to close below the key level and start moving bearish. Bitcoin, we simply wait for what? For price to exhaust or to pull back to start to continue moving bearish, or to close below the lows and continue bearish. Ethereum, we simply wait for a pullback, exhaustion phase to continue bearish, or for price to close below the lows and continue bearish. Litecoin is in a potential bullish, it's in a potential bear flag. We simply wait for price to break out or to close below the lows and continue bearish. Oil, we simply wait for what? For price to trade above the highs and continue bullish, or for price to give us some sort of a continuation or confirmation to continue moving to the downside. So that's my weekly outlook. That's what I'll be looking for the week, and that's what I'll be looking to take trades for this week. So like I said, disclaimer, everything I do or everything I base my things, it's just financial disclaimer. Everything I do or say, it's not financial advice, but I'm just trying to make it simple for someone to understand how I break down trades or how I execute my trades. It's reform. So last but not least, can I please look at fundamentals for the week before we can end the session? Investing.com always slow. Investing.com is always slow, and it making my laptop seem like it's fucking slow. The fuck? Okay, guys, so investing.com, my investing.com is slow, and I don't want to waste your time or make y'all stay long on my videos. Without further ado, it's your boy once again, Hello. It's your boy once again, Hallam. If you ain't out trading with Hallam, who the fuck is you doing it with? I guess you all have a profitable week. I guess you all prepare ourselves for the trading week. We stay positive, we stay consistent, we believe in ourselves. We do what we're supposed to do day by day, week by week, month by month, and year by year. And we believe in ourselves. You feel me? So without further ado, it's your boy Hallam. If you ain't out trading with Hallam, who the fuck is you doing it with? That's all I got in this video. Peace and love. I'm out.